What's up guys, Adam here from my Houston area backyard garden. In this video, I want to give you some vertical gardening ideas, show you some of the methods that I use in my small backyard to do vertical gardening, and also give you guys some ideas on what vegetables to grow in your vertical gardens. So let's get growing. So the first vertical gardening idea I want to show you guys is just a simple trellis like this. So I got this at Lowe's for $28, so it's a pretty cheap option as far as vertical gardening goes. And it's also pretty good for a small garden like mine as well. But what I'm growing on this is some winter squash. And it will also be good to grow things like cucumbers on this as well. Pretty much anything that vines. So as the vines grow, I recommend maybe tie the vines to the trellis to help it grow along as it grows. So the second vertical gardening idea is I actually have a arch trellis right here. So this is a really cool looking trellis that is attaching two of my beds, which is great for squash again. So I'm growing more butternut squash. This is probably a better option than the first option, but it is a little bit more expensive. So I have butternut squash on here, I got some tomatoes right here, and then on the other side over here, I have some more pickling cucumbers. So the third vertical gardening idea is to get this GreenStalk vertical gardening tower. I've had this for about 2 weeks now. Everything is growing really well. But what I'm growing with this, I have some more pickling cucumbers. I got some strawberries, some dwarf tomatoes, so these are going to grow smaller than regular tomatoes, and some herbs. So that's what I recommend growing in this. But the great thing about the GreenStalk is that you water it from the top and everything gets watered evenly. So this is a great option for vertical gardening. So the next method I want to talk about in vertical gardening is something I've talked about in one of my other videos. So if you guys want to check that video out, I'll have a link in the description. So I actually pruned some of my trees and I reused some of those branches to help trellis up my tomato plants. Now typically the cages you see at Lowe's or Home Depot are not anywhere near big enough for a indeterminate tomato plant. They're probably better for a dwarf or determinate tomato variety. But I actually use those cages to start the tomato plants, and then I use these long branches to help trellis the tomato plants up even further once they grow past those cages. But if you guys don't have any trees that you can prune that are that big, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy these tomato stakes. They're about 8 feet long, so they work really well to do basically the same thing I use with the branches. So that's a great option for using vertical gardening for tomato plants. So the next thing I want to show you guys is how I use vertical gardening to grow this pumpkin plant. Now typically a pumpkin plant like this will take up this entire bed. Now this bed is pretty big. It's 4 by 10. But I'm also growing pepper plants and tomato plants in the same bed. And by using vertical gardening methods, I'm actually maintaining this pumpkin plant so I can grow those other plants in the same bed. I do want to tell you guys that if you're using vertical gardening to grow a pumpkin plant with other plants, you want to make sure you keep an eye on it to make sure that the pumpkin plant is growing up the trellis and not getting out of control and taking over some of the other plants. So that's how I use vertical gardening, guys. If you guys found this helpful, if you guys have another method that you guys use to vertical garden, let me know in the comment section. But if you guys found this video helpful, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Thanks for watching.